Very good evening. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a wonderful day today. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. We'll continue from where we stopped, that is chapter 38, the description of the Handi. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra. My most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Nath. We had stopped at verse 52. Now we will continue from verse 53 onwards. Once, on an Ekadashi day, Baba said to Dada Kelkar, "Will you get for me some mutton from Korhala?" And Sai took out some rupees and counting them, gave them to Dada. "Do go yourself," he commanded. "Only you must do this." So, if you remember the last week, we were doing about how Baba prepares the handi, how he cooks himself, and then how he feeds the meek and the poor and all of his devotees, whoever comes to the mosque. So in continuation to that is this story now. Ganesh Damodar, whose surname was Kelkar, was also called Dada by all, in deference to his advanced age. He was the father-in-law of Hari Vinayak Sate. Himself a Brahmin, he was scrupulous in observing religious rites and rituals. He was a man of right conduct and thought, whose love for Sai was boundless. I know not how this command did not surprise him, who served his Guru day and night and yet was not satisfied. Those not feeble of limb, but who have the power and strength born of prolonged sadhana, will not have a fickle mind, and their intellect is also unwavering, fixed at the Guru's feet. Absolutely, this is a very important stage to achieve in any devotee's disciple's life. I'll reread this again. I know not how this command did not surprise him, who served his Guru day and night and yet was not satisfied. Those not feeble of limb, but who have the power and strength born of prolonged sadhana, will not have a fickle mind, and their intellect is also unwaveringly fixed at the Guru's feet. Absolutely. That is when you can obey your Guru's command at one go. The moment your Guruji says, "Go do this, go to the market, go buy the mutton," he will immediately pick up the bag and just go. He's not even going to wait to ask a question. And what is it required? Prolonged sadhana will not have a fickle mind. So your mind is not going to come and ask many questions. "Oh, Guruji, should I go now, later? Oh, can I go buy mutton? Which store do you want me to go?" Nothing. None of the questions. He exactly knows what to do. And that is why it is mentioned there are three kinds of disciples and devotees. The highest of the devotee or disciple is one who, anticipates and serves the Guru. The next best is the one who immediately obeys the command of the Guru without questioning. The last, one who's of the low order is the one who will have to be told many times and yet he will have doubts and he will question. So these are the different types of devotees and disciples that exist. So you must not question the master, at least just obey his command to the T. And for which there's a criteria, born of prolonged sadhana, then your mind is not going to waver. And then also, and after that, your intellect will also not waver. Both your mind and intellect will not waver. It will be fixed on the feet of your lotus feet of your Guruji. So, offering of wealth, grain, clothes are not the only form of dakshina. To obey the Guru's command, to propitiate him and thus to please him is also the dakshina. I think we've discussed this enough. The highest form of dakshina that you can offer to your Guruji is absolute faith in him, complete surrender, unconditional pure love and exclusive devotion. And when we live and walk the talk of what your master has taught you, the knowledge that he has imparted you, when you do everything as ordained by him, that itself is a Guru Dakshina that you will offer to your Guru. And when you are able to live and serve him in the way he's taught you, then that itself is the highest form of service. That's the highest form of Guru Dakshina. That is what will make the master very proud. It is not just the clothes, dakshina, I mean, the offerings in any other form, but the offering should be when you are able to imbibe the highest form of offering to any guru is, when you have imbibed that knowledge and you walk that talk, you literally live, you become that knowledge yourself. And that is what you will, that is how you will please your guru. There are no other ways to please him. Your guru is only seeking. I wish I had that one student who will literally walk the path, who will walk exactly on the path that I have laid for him, who's not going to doubt me, who's never going to question me. This is what the gurus expect. Rather, it's not even they expect. They just want to see in their disciples and devotees that they find this one being who is able to live that, because it is not so easy. That is why it is mentioned here, prolonged sadhana, and that is when you are able to attain an unwavering mind and intellect. Your mind is not going to keep fickling. Your mind will not fickle, and then you will have that firm faith at your guru, and you will exactly do what he ordains you to do. This is what you need to attain. So, offering of wealth, grain, clothes are not the only form of dakshina. To obey the guru's command, to propitiate him, and thus to please him is also the dakshina. He who offers all his actions, speech, mind, etc. at the guru's feet and in the end wins his grace, attains true and firm faith. See, you must understand, it's not such an easy thing to develop this firm faith. How do you develop a firm faith? It is very nicely mentioned. Baba has explained here. He who offers all his action, speech, mind, etc. at the lotus feet of the Guru and in the end wins his grace. Only with the grace of your Guru can you attain true and firm faith. That is why I keep saying, Moksha Moolam Gurur Krupam. Whether it is faith, whether it is love and devotion, whether it is surrender, it is only the grace of the Guru will you ever be able to achieve this. But what is the Guru seeking in you, or what is it that he's watching you? When this grace will come? The grace will only come when you have evolved, when you have performed, when you have gone deep in the study, deep in the sadhana, when you have put arduous effort. The Guru is watching you. Please know that every Guru is watching you, and they see how well the disciples fare in their life. How well are they, disciplined? How are they doing their things? Are they following the ordained? And please know that there are tests that is going to come up. Every single day is a test by itself. Sometimes you feel, oh my God, what is happening today? Why is this happening to me? Oh, everything is happening to me alone. Everything is happening at one time. No matter how much I do for my Guru, my God, I don't think they are there at this moment in time. So that's the doubt that comes. And at that moment, you need to have that absolute faith. The one faith that you need to have is everything is happening for your good alone and for your progress alone. You think the master who's guiding you, who's teaching you, who's all knowing, doesn't he care about your well-being? Of course he cares. That is why he's just watching you. Everything will be fine. But where is your faith? You cannot doubt him. You don't have to be afraid. He's the one who has given birth to this entire universe. So what makes you think that he will not take care of you? Of course, just have that faith. Even in the worst times, when you think nothing is working, everything is falling down, have that faith. Just hold tightly onto the lotus feet of the Guru, because everything else is Maya. The truth is that only God Almighty is the truth. Is real. Everything else that you're experiencing, with your body, mind and senses are unreal. So don't fall for that. That is Maya. And when you have this firm faith, you will overcome that with his grace. So that's what it says. And in the end wins his grace, attains true and firm faith. Obeying the command reverently, he quickly dressed and was about to set out to go to that village when he was called back. Or else you may just send someone to make this purchase, Baba said. Why needlessly take the trouble of going and coming? So Dada decided to send Pandu to bring the mutton. But just see what Baba said to Dada at the time. As Pandu set out to go and was already on his way, he said, or let it be today, and made him come back. Later, on one occasion, a sudden fancy seized his mind to prepare the handi. Putting the vessel on the fire, he poured the pieces of mutton into it. Then he washed the rice and added it. along with a measured quantity of water, and arranging the firewood in the fireplace, sat blowing it. See, the Guru's ways are unfathomable. You cannot comprehend them. He said, he asked first Dada to go, then he says, don't go, send someone. Then when he's sending Pandu, then half the way he says, no, call him back. I don't need. So why they do what they do, we don't know. But doing is a must. You must then send somebody, because that is what the command. Everything is dynamic. So keep following them and nothing shall befall. This is what you need to understand. So don't question. You can't go and ask, Baba, you just said no. You told me I shouldn't go. I can send somebody. Now why are you calling him back? You can't ask like that. There is a reason why they are doing what they are doing. You don't have the vision or the power or the capability to see what is going to come about, or why they would say, okay, now it is not required. There is a reason for all of that. But you don't question, just obey blindly. Follow them blindly. That is all you need to have. Later, okay. Then he washed the rice and added it along with a measured quantity of water, and arranging the firewood in the fireplace, sat blowing it. When the whole village was a slave to his command, anyone would have gladly sat there blowing the fire. But they dare not do so without Baba's command. Please know that. Only when your Guruji commands you, then only you need to do that. But without the master's command, you can't do anything. Even for cooking, for bringing the food, it would have been enough for him just to give the order, as his devotees, enslaved by love, were always so eager. But it was Sai himself who was not interested. And yet, it is not proper even to say that he was not interested. For when he had his own gain in view in preparing the food, why will he trouble others to offer it to strangers? Himself, he asked for madhukari, going from door to door for it, requesting for a quarter piece of jowar bread, just enough to sustain him. Such a one will be really satisfied only when he himself toils for the annadan to others. I hope you understand what he's talking about. It's about offering food. Food offering to, offering of food is the highest form of offering. Actually, we discussed this in the same chapter when we started on the story about why does Baba prepare the handi and why does Baba cook food for everybody, and especially the charity about annadan. Why the greatest form of charity is the offering of the food, and why food has to be offered, and especially to the meek and the poor. So it was all very beautifully described. You can go listen to it once again. So Baba wants to offer this to everybody. He wants to serve. That is how the gurus are. They like to cook and serve to everybody. My Krishna Guruji is always eager to cook something and serve his devotees. That is who he is. He can, I can't even match his speed. Nobody can match his speed. He's so perfect. He can just in 1 hour's time, he can make the entire meal. That super fast he is in cooking, and he can cook variety of cuisines. He's an all-rounder. That is who the divine masters are. You cannot tell them, oh, you don't know this or you can't do this. They can do any job for that matter. They have knowledge about all subjects. They can perform, in a perfect manner, in the highest capacity, the highest ability. And that is what my Krishna Guruji will say, that when the Lord is living with you, what makes you think you are incapable? You need to strive hard. You need to put more effort. And you have to constantly be on your toes. You cannot relax. You cannot let yourself feel, oh, I am tired. My body is paining. My head is paining. My leg is aching. We cannot keep saying all of this. I have a headache. I have a body ache. No. Keep working. Never let your mind ever tell you you are tired. You need rest. Today, see, we are in the age of Kali Yuga. It's a tamasic life. Everybody's into tamas. Don't fall into tamas. To rise and be in the sattva, you have to put lot of effort. It is not easy. That is why my Krishna Guruji will keep saying you have to be very disciplined. Disciplining yourself is extremely important. Your mind is going to say that, oh, today I can't run, I cannot walk, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But you have to push yourself to do it. When you push yourself to do it, then you will be able to do, and then you will understand your own capability. That is what is saying, that everything, all the power is within you, but you have to unravel. How do you unravel if you don't put that effort? That extreme arduous effort is required. You have to work that hard, and once you get there, then you will understand your capabilities, and then you will not give these reasons, and your mind will not deceive you. This is why it is extremely important. So here it's saying how Baba himself would love to do all the cooking. Though he had devotees with him, on just one command, they would be his servant. But he didn't want to do that. So such a one will be such a one will be really satisfied only when he himself toils for the anadam to others. And so he never depended on anyone. He himself carefully selected wheat flour, rice, pulses, etc. to cook food for 100 people, paying for the ingredients in cash. And scuttle basket in hand, when he himself went to the grocer, it was truly a lesson for people to learn as to how watchful one has to be in one's worldly dealings as well. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. My Krishna Guruji will also teach the same thing. He has taught all of his devotees and disciples, those who wanted to learn, how do you actually live in this world? The worldly dealings is one of the things that these great masters will teach. Right from even buying the basic vegetables, how do you recognize which is a good quality product, or how do you, negotiate, how do you bargain, and how do you get the best price or value for money? All these things the gurus are well aware. So you get trained under him in terms, even right basic stuff. When you cook, how do you chop the onions and tomatoes in a specific manner? And oh my God, sometimes it feels overwhelming with the kind of things that my Guruji knows, and he'll say, no, for this dish you have to make it in a particular manner, you have to slice it in a certain manner. He's a master of everything. To learn under such great master, it's very difficult, because you have to become that malleable being. That's exactly what he was teaching me the other day. How do you be a malleable one whom the Guruji can train, he can bend you backwards and make you that best version of who truly you are? But you need to come with the attitude to learn, not with an attitude of saying, I've done this, I know this. That is not how you will get the knowledge. So when you say, I know, the one who wants to give you that knowledge will shut off. And this is a very important lesson. So be humble. When you meet these masters and want to learn, be very humble and go in the submissive manner with absolute humility, and exactly do what they ask you to do. And that is how you will learn. One of my Guruji's disciple, I must say this, he has been trained under him for few years, and he exactly knows what my Guruji wants, and he will keep everything in order, precisely cut in a specific manner. Everything will be ready, and my Guruji will come and do the cooking in no time. In 10 minutes he can make the breakfast. That's fast he is. So but there needs to be preparation done. So he has a method to do it. So you have to be efficient, you have to be highly productive. So preparation is very important. So you need to plan the way you need to do things. So being organized is extremely important. Today we people lack all of this. It's extremely important. You must learn these basic skills, and this guru, the great masters, know this all very well. So when we go out, he will literally, when we go, it's simple things, right? We go for grocery shopping. That time my Guruji will show how we need to look at the manufacturing date and what kind of ingredients are there, and then look at different company products, and then compare, and then buy the best, and at the best price possible. Not just because you're buying, somebody writes to organic, doesn't mean you pay more money and buy the product, because there's nothing organic in that. So he explains to us, how do we recognize which is the right quality product? These basic simple life lessons is very important, so that tomorrow you are capable and you will pass on this knowledge to the future generation. So if you do not learn and if you do not practice, how will you pass on this to your own children, with your family, and all other people in this world? That is why my Guruji even he will teach us even the simple things. Sometimes he'll let us make mistakes, and he'll make us burn our finger, and then he will then give us that knowledge. Why? Because we should not repeat those mistakes. Many a time my Guruji will tell, I let you make that mistake, because if you don't make that mistake, how will you learn? So this is a very important aspect of how the gurus teach. But first you need to be the student who is malleable in his hands. Taking a particular ingredient in hand, he would fix the rate only after hard bargaining. No one could cheat him, their pride being completely humble. Absolutely. The master is all knowing. My Guruji can recognize what is a fake stuff and what is a real stuff, and he'll say, come, I will explain to you. And sometimes I feel it's so overwhelming, because you feel just you don't know so much in life. That's the amount of knowledge they have, and they'll exactly point out, oh, no, this is fake. I'll tell you how to recognize. You don't even have the knowledge, and you'll give a peace of mind. How come you people have not even got yourself educated? These are life lessons. You must study. Why don't you have this attitude to learn? This is what my Guruji will keep saying. Even today, he'll, like I keep saying this in satsang, 8 hours in a day, he will sit and read voraciously. I've not seen him even waste a moment. Sometimes I feel terribly, I feel, oh my God, I feel ashamed of myself because I want to at least live 1% of what he is. That's the greatness. So we have to do this. Why do they do? This is a very interesting reason why they do this, so that they can set example for us to follow. If my Guruji is not doing, then how will I follow? Today I feel ashamed and I feel the need that I have to do this. I feel the need, I have to study, I need to get educated. No matter what the age is just a number. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. It is the attitude to learn that matters. It's better late than never. So do it now. Go and study. And always ask. If you don't know, go and find out. This is what my Guruji would say. Yeah, you might make mistakes. Doesn't mean we all have reached that success without making mistakes. It's a step-by-step process. So learning is a must. So have that attitude to learn. He would put up such a pretense of calculating, but while paying promptly in cash, he would give even 10 where the shopkeeper asked for only 5. He liked to do things himself and would not approve if someone else did the work. Nor did he expect others to do things for him, and yet he was not resentful of people. This was the one principle that was constantly present in Baba's mind, day and night. Hence, even in the work for the Handi, he never asked for help from anyone. Like my Guruji will say, I don't need any help. I'm capable of doing. Please get out. Don't be around me and waste my time. And he doesn't like anybody talking around him while he's cooking. They need that ekagrat. Even in that cooking, what they're doing? They're lost in that self. And that is why they're highly efficient. We are, our mind is, defocused. It's spread. It's spread in different things. It's not there in that single point. There is no single pointed devotion. We are thinking about too many different things. So our thought process is not clear. It's not gathered. So why they are highly efficient is because they have the single pointed devotion of making that food, serving in a particular time. So you're in a meditative state. So my Krishna Guruji, whatever might be the task that he's doing, he's always in that meditative state. He's not in himself. He's lost in himself. Which means that you're in the blissful state and you're in yourself. Your mind is not thinking any other thing except that particular task. And that particular task is just doing as a sleepwalk. They don't even have to put their mind. Why? Because they are lost in their own self, which is within that divine Lord Almighty. So similarly should be the case that you have to be lost in your own self alone. And then that ekagrita will come. Then the single pointed devotion to any task. That is why we say work is worship. Every task has to be looked like it is a worship that you're doing to your divine Lord Almighty. Then you will not feel like, oh, I don't want to do this, I want to do this. And then you will be highly efficient. Then you will give the best that you have to everything. This is what my Guruji says. He will never ever show relaxedness. He will never show that he's not serious about some task or he's serious about other tasks. Every task that he does has the same level of seriousness, same level of ekagrita. That is why he's so perfect. That is why they are supreme divine Lord Almighty. So we need to go take that lessons and live so that the future generations can follow too. That is why these great divine Lord Almighties manifest in the form of the Guru to impart that knowledge, to set an example so that the world can follow. This was the one principle that was constantly present in Baba's mind day and night, and hence even in the work for the Handi, he never asked for help from anyone. Not only in the matter of the Handi, but 3/4 of the eastern wall of the storeroom for firewood near the Duni was also constructed by Baba with his own hands. Mahadu would prepare the mortar, a mixture of mud, lime or cow dung and water, and trowel in hand, Baba would plaster the wall, placing layer upon layer of bricks to erect the walls. See, I cannot see anybody else apart from my Krishna Guruji in this. There is not a single job which my Guruji cannot do, be it electrical work, be it a carpentry, be it anything. And he, teaches, he will teach his own disciple, and saying how you have to do everything. He makes him learn even cooking, for that matter. He says tomorrow you should not be dependent on anybody. He says you have to be self-sufficient. You should be able to do every job. Don't say I don't know. One thing my Guruji doesn't like is when you say I don't know. The word I don't know is he hates that word. I mean, this is, it's not a hate, but he doesn't like when we give negatives to ourselves. He says you're capable of doing everything. Have you ever tried? The question he'll always ask everybody, all of his disciples, is have you ever tried? Can you go try before you give yourself that negative of saying I don't know, I can't do this, I'm incapable. We've always taught our life starts with I don't know, I am incapable. Why do you think you're incapable? Have you even gone and tried? We're always feeling insecure that, oh, we might not be able to do that job well. For me, doing this satsang itself is like that. My Guruji has taught something very beautifully. He says, keep doing. Someday you will become better. But what he says in one of his satsang, he said, even after 20 years, I don't think I have reached that level of perfection. I was amazed at him making that statement, because he's the perfect one. His words are so perfect. Every word, every example, the amount of knowledge he has, the wealth of knowledge, and the kind of examples he will give. And he's teaching me today how to, be able to do this, give these expositions. But I know this much, that the effort is mine, but the words are of his wisdom. Whatever the words have to come from my mouth will flow through easily, effortlessly, because that is how it is. The divine knowledge is not something I possess. It is a universal knowledge. It comes from a different source. It comes from the divine Lord Almighty himself. But the effort is mine. But as I keep doing my satsangs, I get better and better. So you have to put that effort. Preparation is important. Storytelling is a must. So he teaches how do you narrate a story in a very nice manner, in a simple way, which is understood by everybody. Because the essence of that story has to be understood by those who are listening, and also by one who is narrating. And if that essence is not understood, then how do you understand what knowledge it means? What is the knowledge that you're trying to impart? So he'll say you have to be able to teach the same lesson to even to a 5-year-old. And my Guruji is fantastic at doing that. He can just break down the most complex knowledge in layman language, like how you would explain to a child. And I will give this context in my own example. When I joined Rolls-Royce last year, he explained to me how the engine works with a beautiful example of in a demonstrating with the exhaust fan in the bathroom. And I was amazed. Oh my God, you need a phenomenal brain to do this. But it is the most simple thing. I don't think anybody else would have been able to teach like that. I saw that art in him. Only God can teach like that. Nobody else can. And I literally bowed down. I said, wow, this is amazing. That you explain the most complex subject in the simple way and giving a demonstration, a live demonstration, just by using an exhaust fan. Wow, that is amazing. So this is how the masters teach. So you need to be able to do this. How do you do this? By practice. So till you don't try, you don't know what your capabilities are, and you have to keep doing every single day. It doesn't mean you do it one day and then you stop. You're not going to get anywhere. So you have to continue to learn, continue to do the task. You have to practice, practice, practice. Someday you will get there. And don't expect everyday praise, or don't expect your guru saying, oh, today you've done a great job. No, the masters will never appreciate. If he says, okay, big deal. And what they will do is they will give you feedback. Okay, you can do much better. You need to strive more hard. Here is where you're going wrong. So take that feedback and implement it. Learn, study hard. You will get there. You will value why the masters, put you through to do certain things. That's the only way you will learn. See, we human beings want to just not do things and just be there. We want everything on a platter. It doesn't work. till you don't put efforts, you are not going to understand what it means to do. And this is my Guruji has taught. He'll say, go do everything yourself. Are you incapable? Why are you having assistance? You don't need assistance. You have to go do it yourself. This is one thing very important. And today Baba is saying the same thing. He doesn't want any help. He wants to be the doer. So the doership is very important. Similar lessons have been taught by Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita too. He says to Arjuna, lift your bow and arrow and shoot. You have to shoot. You can't say that I can't shoot because they are my relatives. No, it is your duty. The duties are a must, and you have to do it without having any attachment to what is the end result going to be. It doesn't matter whether you're going to fail or you're going to succeed, but doing alone is a must. And that is what is a part of progressing in your world. If you stop doing, then there is an issue. You have to do. Then there's a very beautiful verse, the last chapter, the 18th chapter, in which Lord Shri Krishna has very nicely said, and it's like a threat, at a gunpoint. He says to Arjuna, if by self-conceit and deceit and giving to your own ego, if you stand up and say, I'm not going to do it, and you give your to egotism and not perform the task, please know that you will have to perforce perform given to your own nature. And how does that happen? The Maya will make you do it. It is born of your nature. You will be made to perforce perform the same action as though mounted on a machine, which means then you have no choice. But when you do that, then you're going to incur karma. Why do you need that? That is what my Guruji also teaches. You don't have to get to that. Why do a man doesn't listen? When he's told to do something, he doesn't want to do it. At that time, he procrastinates. And then what? The nature will take, the destiny will come into play. And then you're going to end up doing the same action, but you will fall in karma. Why do you need to do that? And then there will be a lot of disasters on that path. Don't do that. My Guruji had instructed few people, and saying, you have to do this. But they didn't listen. And today, his Maya is taken over, and she's working her ways out so that the same action can be performed. So why don't a human mind listen? Why don't you listen? Don't give in to your ego. It is very, very dangerous. I'm saying this, and I have personally experienced this truth. So when you have to do it at that moment, because once the time is lost, it's never going to come back. This is a very important lesson again. And please know that time itself is the essence of Lord Shri Krishna himself. So please respect time. When you respect time, the time is on your side. God will always stand on your side. But when the time is gone, then destiny takes over. Then no God can help you. Then Maya is the one who's going to make those things happen. Oh, what did Baba not do? He smeared the floor of the mosque with cow dung, wash himself, stitched his kafni and langot with his own hands without any expectations from anybody. Please know this. This is how the great masters are. They do not expect anything from others. They don't want any help. They're highly capable. And even when we offer to serve them, only out of love and so that we all can redeem our sins, they will allow us to serve them. But they are highly capable. They don't want any help from anybody. And they will do all of their tasks themselves. When the steam rose out of the boiling handi, scorching hot, Baba would pull up his sleeves and, thrusting his hand inside, would stir up the contents up and down. Can you imagine that? In the hot piping water right on the flame, and Baba's putting his hand and stirring it. I've heard this beautiful story from my Krishna Guruji, which he has heard from his great grandparents. He says that Baba had long hands, I believe. It's like really long. His hand would reach literally below his knee, that length. And so he would pull up his kafni and then stir, he would put his hand into the handi and stir. He will not use any ladle. Can you believe the power that they have? Such is the greatness of these gurus. And we need to at least unravel this divinity within us. Why are we being taught these lessons? The reason is because it's only telling that we need to evolve. We need to get over this belief of that I am this body, I am the mind, I am the senses. We have to get over. We have to overcome all of this and become divine. And that is when we will also be able to live those capabilities, God-given capabilities within us. So go and unravel, become the best version of yourself. Seeing that vessel was boiling and ready to be stirred, Baba would show his marvelous Leela at the moment. Oh, where the hand of flesh and blood, and where the vessel scorching hot. But neither any sign of the burns nor a frightened face could be seen. And how could the fire hurt a hand which removed the threefold affliction of the devotees? Absolutely. The moment it fell on their heads, did it not know its greatness? Absolutely. All the elements under their control. All the elements are adhering to this great master. It's not the other way around. The soaked pulses he himself picked, cleaned on the stone slab, and ground them with the stone roller. With his own hand, he would pat the mixture into small cakes. These were then gently slipped into the handi and stirred so that they may not stick to the bottom of the vessel. Once ready, he would take the vessel down and distribute the prasad to all. But why to everyone? The listeners may ask. Sai Baba was a Muslim. Then how could he make them act against their dharma in this way? There is but one answer to this. Sai Baba was constantly aware of what is true dharma and adharma. And never did Sai insist in the least that the food cooked in the handi should be eaten by all. But whosoever was urged by the good desire that he should get the prasad, the desire of such only was satisfied by him fully. He never deceived anyone. Moreover, who knew his caste? Because he lived in the mosque, they all said he was a Muslim, but from his general conduct, no one could make out his caste. Does one look for the caste of him, in the dust of whose feet the devotees rolled in their loving devotion, treating him as God? Oh, shame on their spirituality. You don't ask caste creed to the master. He is the Lord Almighty, Parabrahma himself. How can you talk about caste and creed? He in whom detachment for this world and the next was ingrained, and whose wealth consisted in discriminating knowledge and renunciation. Should his caste be a consideration at all? Shame, shame on the spirituality of such. Oh, does one ever think of the caste of him who is beyond dharma and adharma, is a pure bliss? Shame indeed on the spirituality of such. If we people are thinking about what is the caste of Baba, where does he come from, all that is nonsensical stuff, nothing applies to them. They are the Parabrahman, the Almighty Lord himself. No dharma or adharma. He is in the pure, perfect, blissful self. Such a Baba's life story. I, for one, sing his praises for my own happiness. And it will also satisfy the keen desire of anyone who wants to listen. But we have left far behind the threads of the present story. So now listen attentively to what Baba said to Dada. Some savory pulav has been prepared. Have you seen how it has turned out? Oh, yes, yes, it is very good, said Dada, just as a formality. Dada was an old staunch devotee who observed daily religious rituals such as bath, sandhya, etc., and was also particular about conformity or otherwise to the shastras. To him, this did not appear to be the proper thing. So Baba said to Dada, never have you set eyes on it before, nor has the palate ever tasted it. How can you say it is good? Just remove the cover of the vessel and put your hand into see for yourself. And holding his hand in his own, he just thrust it into the vessel. He then said, now take your hand out, take the ladle and serve it in a plate. Do not worry about sovla. Sovla means something very pure. It's a Marathi word, it's called sovla. Do not indulge in such vain talk that the saints will ever ask the disciple to do anything to pollute him is a most improper idea. They are always full of compassion and only they know their own ways. Absolutely never judge the gurus by certain actions that they perform. Only they know why they perform. They are not here to contaminate or pollute your whatever their practices are. But the only reason why they do is to break your beliefs. The beliefs which you are following without questioning them. Why are you doing what you're doing? You need to understand. See, we have been following, every family follows certain traditions, certain practices. Where has it come from? It has come from their forefathers. But have anyone questioned, like their parents have followed and their forefathers have been following. So nobody has questioned those practices. But the guru actually teaches you why should you do certain things and why you must not. And that is why To some, to break that belief system, he will do certain actions and don't go by why he does what he does. Even a mother, when seized by a sudden surge of affection, pinches the child lovingly. But when the child screams, it is she who will at once hug him. Only when one really wished to taste the forbidden food did Baba satisfy his desire for it. But one who had control over his mind always won Baba's approval. The devotees' firm resolve to obey Baba's command sometimes went to such an extreme that those who had never touched meat in all their lives also wavered in their belief. See, one thing you must understand, Baba is never going to make you eat meat if you have never eaten. But if he says you have to eat, there must be certain reason. But here is saying you must have control over your mind. There is a reason why the masters will make you do certain things, only so that you can overcome your mind, your senses, your body, all the belief system, to break that which is not correct, that which is improper, and will show you what is proper. But in fact, Baba himself never induced such devotees to follow what they considered as the wrong path. Thus, before the year 1910, the occasion for the Handi was used to come very frequently, attended with great enthusiasm. But after that, Das Ganu visited Bombay and through his kirtans impressed Baba's greatness upon the minds of all. From then on, the young and the old, they all came to know of Baba's power, and innumerable people started visiting Shirdi. Then began Baba's puja, complete with the 5 puja ingredients and many types of food offerings for lunch and snacks at noon and in the afternoon. Rice with varan, shira with puris or thin puffed wheat cakes, chapatis, dressed salads and chutney, varieties of panchamrit, kheer, all such dishes flooded into mosque. Pilgrims flocked there unlimited in number. Each and every one would go running for the darshan and offered at his feet food offerings, which naturally went towards satisfying the hunger of many people. Sai Baba began to be treated as a king, the umbrella and the charmer being waved over his head amid loud music of tals and other instruments as the number of devotees grew. His fame spread far and wide, and all began to sing his praises. Later, Shirdi became a holy place of pilgrimage for the pilgrims. Now there remained no reason for Handi, so numerous were the food offerings that much food still remained after satisfying the fakirs, gosavis, etc. So once Baba's fame was widespread by Das Ganu and by word of mouth, a lot of people started flocking into Shirdi. So everybody bought food offerings and then they would serve it as prasad and then everybody would eat. And then it said even after satisfying everybody's hunger, the food was still remaining. Such was Baba's grace. And then there was no need for Handi. But until then, Baba himself toiled, went and bought everything and he cooked from his own hand and served. You know, how sweet is that? That madhu curry. That is called madhu curry. You know why? There is madhu, there is sweetness in that. And when you eat what is cooked and served by the Guru, it removes all your sickness, all your sins. It washes away everything within ourselves. But we don't understand that. The Gurus will never tell you what is happening. That is called sattva. They are actually, making you evolve towards that sattva. Can you believe this human birth? You have got it after a great boon. But this human body has lot of karmas and tendencies. It's carried from many lives of yours, and then you're here to redeem whatever the prarabdha karma which you have to expiate in this life. But that sins are too many. So how do you overcome? There are different means. We don't understand. We can't even fathom how much karma we have committed in so many lives of ours. But only the great masters know. Sometimes we wonder, why do we go through certain sickness? Why is our life like this? But everything is meant to be. And that is part of our prarabdha karma. But with the grace of the Guru, it's beautiful. So when the Guru cooks and serves certain food, that itself is a blessing. That is punya. Punya means there is some good deed that you have committed so that you are graced with that blessing. And when we eat that itself is a holy teeth. It's a prasad. Everything is a prasad. And when you eat that prasad, you're getting purified. Your internal organs, your Everything is getting purified. So whatever might be the disease, sickness, it's all throwing it out. Can you imagine this? There is no other medicine required in your life. The greatest medicine that you can have is the prasad from the cooked by own with the hands of your own guru. That is the highest prasad that you can get. And like I said, when you drink the waters that is wash the holy feet of your master as a holy tirth. Tirth means which is a consecrated sacred water. And when you drink that holy water, that was purifying your entire being. All the goodness will flow. The DNA of your Guruji will come into you. Then you will evolve. Then you will become that sattvic being, and you will evolve on your path of spiritual. That is why we have to do everything that is required to become holy like the Master. Because they are the purest being. Why? They are the God Almighty. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we have to become that essence of that Master. So be that. Imbibe all the good qualities, that goodness, everything that your Master has within him. Now I shall narrate another story, which you will be happy to hear. Baba was always displeased if disrespect was shown towards one's titular deity. Drawing their own inferences, some call Baba a Brahmin, some a Muslim, when in fact he was without any caste. Without knowing where he belonged, when and in what caste he was born, or who his parents were, Muslim or Brahmin. He had been a Muslim. How would he have allowed fire worship in the mosque? And would there have been a Tulsi Vrindavan, or could he have tolerated the sounding of bells? Would he have permitted the blowing of conch or katha kirtan to the accompaniment of musical instruments like tal, mridangam, etc., and ceaseless proclamations of Harinam in the mosque? If he had been a Muslim, would he have allowed sandalwood paste being applied to the forehead as he sat in the mosque? And would he eat in mixed company? Had he been a Muslim, would he have had ears that were pricked? And spending money out of his own pocket, would he have renovated temples that were old and dilapidated? Would he have allowed being dressed in the fine, rich pitambar after his bath? On the contrary, not for a moment would he brook any disrespect towards any tutelar deity. I remember a very instructive tale in this connection. As I am writing this, I shall very humbly relate it to you. Please listen to it quietly. Once it so happened that Baba had just returned from the Lendi and was sitting in the mosque. The devotees had also gathered for his darshan. Amongst them was the great devotee Chandorkar, who was so dear to Baba. Eager for Baba's darshan, he had come with Biniwale, his brother-in-law, wife's sister's husband. After making obeisance to Sainath, they both sat down in front of him, and while inquiries after their well-being, etc., were in progress, Baba suddenly grew angry. He said, Nana, how could you forget this? Is this all that you have learnt after spending days with me? You have been in my company. Is this all that it has come to in the end? Oh, how could your mind be so deluded? Tell me everything carefully. On hearing this, Nana hung his head and began to look for the reason for his anger, but could not remember any and became very disturbed in his mind. He could not understand where he had gone wrong, could think of no reason for his anger, but Baba would never hurt anyone's feelings unless something had happened. So he caught Baba's feet, entreating him in various ways. In the end, he spread his uparna before him, asking him why was he so angry with him. When you have been in my company for years together, why should the state of your mind be still such? What has happened to you? Said Baba to him. When did you reach Kopargaon and what happened on the way? Did you get down anywhere or drove the Tonga straight here? Did anything unusual happen on the way? I wish to hear everything in detail. Tell me that happened and where, whether it is trivial or otherwise. Nana at once understood as he heard this. His face fell. Though in his heart he was ashamed to tell, yet he narrated everything. He made up his mind that hide and seek will not do here. So he narrated to Baba in detail what had happened. With Sai, untruth would never work. Sai's grace would never be obtained by telling a falsehood. Untruth leads to a fall and ultimately to an evil end. To deceive the Guru is a great sin, and there is no expiation for it. Knowing this full well, Nana related to Baba what had happened from beginning to end. See, one of the very important lessons that you must understand, that you can never hide anything from your master. And knowing fully well that you are not supposed to perform certain actions and you perform, and after that you have not informed your guru or kept in, given him that background of, yes, you have committed certain mistakes knowingly fully well that you're not supposed to do, then it is a grave mistake. You're actually committing sin. And it is said that to deceive the guru is a great sin and there is no expiation for it. And I'll tell you a very beautiful story from Mahabharata. Karna, Karna was the Sudputra. He was a son of a charioteer. Now, what happened to Karna? When Karna went to learn from Parshuram, he wanted to get that knowledge. At that time, he hid from Parshuram what was his background. So he lied. And after that, once he finished studying, one day his guru was lying on his lap. He had some hurt, so he was lying on his lap. And suddenly the guru wakes up and he recognizes that the Karna has lied to him. And at that time he asks, please tell me, what is that you are hiding from me? See, you cannot hide anything from the guru. You cannot hide anything. They are the all-knowing divine beings. Don't ever take your gurus for granted. See, this is a very important lesson. No matter what it is, you cannot be ashamed of whatever that might have happened. It might be the worst thing which you want to hide, but never ever commit that error in your life. You have to confess everything to your guru. See, when you accept that someone is your guru, you need to always go to them naked, which means you have literally shared everything, all your doings, whatever that might be, whether it is right, wrong, it doesn't matter. You cannot keep your gurus in dark. Your Guruji is all knowing, and that is a great sin. And then what happens, once Karna then confesses, reveals the truth, Parshuram curses him. He says, and no matter what it is, you have said lies to me. At that time, when you really need that knowledge, this knowledge will not stand in faith with you at that moment in time. And that is exactly happened. And this curse came into, became one of the causes, one of the reasons when he was killed in the battlefield. See, they're all programmed. But the stories give you a moral. What is the story? Why are the stories meant to be? Why is all this being narrated or played? There is a reason. Why? What is the reason? The reason is the lesson. The lesson is that you cannot hide anything from your master. You cannot speak lies to him. You cannot do something which your master has, very clearly instructed that you're not supposed to do. And if you go and do that, then you are incurring karma. You're incurring great sin from which there is you can't rise above. There is no expiation for it. You cannot, go and redeem it in any form or capacity. We don't understand the repercussions that come about. We think, oh, we have just not informed my Guruji. That's perfectly fine. No, it's not fine. When you are under the Guru and when you have committed to become a disciple or a devotee of your guru, you cannot lie to him. Please know this, please remember this. Never ever commit this error in your life. And if you do, then it's your falling beyond redemption. There is no way out of it. That is exactly what is mentioned here. So no matter what it is, untruth would never work, because they're Almighty Lord, they're all knowing. What makes you think they are not knowing? But they want to see how truthful you are. See, the path of spirituality is only purity, truthfulness, goodness. You cannot have anything, even one negative, will destroy everything. Like my Krishna Guruji will always give this example. There is a bottle of Ganga, and if you put one drop of potassium cyanide in it, it becomes poison. The entire Ganga water is poison. Similarly, our spiritual growth, your heart, if it has one black mark like this, then the entire your entire heart is already black. You can't have that. It's a poison. How can you then grow on the path of spirituality? You're betraying your guru. Please know this. This is very dangerous. So I am warning you, no matter who you are, whoever is listening to satsang, I am emphasizing it because this is something you cannot commit when you are on the path of spirituality, and when you're leading with your, when you're, journeying that path with your Guruji, and when you're studying under his tutelage, you cannot commit this error, no matter who that might be. You might be the most favorite of your Guruji, but this error cannot be committed. So you have to always confess the truth to him as it is. You have to narrate it, everything the way it is. He was ashamed to tell, yet he narrated everything. Please know this. You have to narrate. And when you make any of these kind of hide and seek and will not do here, it doesn't work. So you have to narrate. And it is said, when with Sai, untruth would never work. And Sai's grace would never be obtained by telling a falsehood. This is very, underline this statement in your life. Be truthful no matter what. And my Krishna Guruji has always taught, when you're walking the path of dharma, when you speak truth, know that Lord is always on your side. Nothing shall befall you. Even in the worst circumstances, he has never told us to speak lie. He has taught one very important lesson, and that lesson is you have to always speak the truth, no matter with whom. You cannot speak anything that is wrong, that is lies. No lies have to be spoken. You have to always speak the truth alone, the way it is. There are no two ways about it. And the gurus will constantly test you, because the mind's nature is to hide things. It wants you to fail. It wants you to fall down. So it will tell you to lie. Never fall prey to this. Your Guruji will not do anything when you tell him what has happened. Even if you have gone and committed a mistake, it's okay. Even if you have murdered someone, openly accept it. You cannot lie. So this is a very important lesson. I hope you understand. To deceive the Guru is a great sin, and there is no expiation for it. Knowing this full well, Nana related to Baba what had happened from beginning to end. He said, at first, when we engaged the Tonga, it was to go straight up to Shirdi, but Biniwale would have missed thereby the darshan of Sri Datta on the banks of the Godavari. Being a Datta devotee, he naturally wished to get down for the darshan. As we were passing by the temple, which was on our way, but I was in a mighty hurry and prevented him, saying that we could have darshan while returning from Shirdi. Becoming impatient that it would cause delay in reaching Shirdi, I put it off, thereby disregarding having Datta darshan. Later, while bathing in the Godavari, a big thorn got lodged in my foot, causing me great distress and discomfort on the way, until I ultimately pulled it out with some effort. Baba warned him, such haste is not good. This time you have been lightly let off, only with a thorn prick, for disregarding darshan. When a holy titular deity like Datta was waiting on the way to give darshan without an effort, will I ever be pleased with the unfortunate one who disregards his darshan? Absolutely. Dattatreya is the supreme master. He is the master of everyone. How can you disregard? But now let us talk about the Handi. Oh, what sanctity attended that meal with Sai in the afternoon, and what affection Sai had for the devotees. Every day, as the devotees would return after Baba's puja and aarti at noon, Baba would give udi to them all. Baba would come out and stand at the edge of the parapet of the mosque, while the devotees would stand waiting in the courtyard. Then they would bow at his feet one by one. And as they stood in front of him, after bowing at his feet one by one, he would apply the udi on the forehead of them all. Now all of you, young and old, go to your respective homes and have your meal. Obeying Baba's command, respectfully the people would return home. The moment Baba's back was turned, the curtain would be pulled down, as was the daily practice to the clanging of plates and batis, and all the pomp and show of the prasad would then begin. Many of the devotees would sit waiting in the courtyard below, desirous of receiving some small portion of the Naivedya sanctified by the touch of Sai Baba's hand. Here, as Baba sat with his back to the niche in the wall, on either side of him would sit spectacular rows of diners, each one of whom was most happy. Each one would push his own Naivedya in front of Sai Samarth, and he too would mix all of them together in a large plate with his own hand. Immeasurable good fortune is needed to receive from Baba's hand even a grain of rice which would purify him who eats it inwardly and outwardly and bring fulfillment to his life. This is something we've already discussed. I think we're already at the end of the hour, so I will stop here. Okay, I think I will take another 5 more minutes to finish this chapter because we only have about another 15 words, so that we'll complete this story. So sorry about the delay. Kindly bear with me for another 5 minutes. Vadas, anarsas, sanjoris, puffed fried wheat cakes, sometimes shigran, ghargas, fenias, a wide variety of vegetables, kheers and salads. Baba would mix all these together. He would then offer the mixed food together to God, and Shama and Nana Nimonkar would be asked to serve platter for after platter filled with it. Then calling the devotees one by one, making them sit near him with great love and joy, he would make them eat till fully satisfied. Varan and chapatis, squeezed up together into a mass and making it delicious by the addition of tasty clarified butter, would then be served by Baba to all. As one savored this mixture, prepared so lovingly by Baba, oh, who can express the blissful joy one experienced? One who tasted it would go, still licking his fingers and being fully satiated. Sometimes mandas, puran polis, sometimes puffed fried wheat cakes soaked in sugar syrup, sometimes basundi, shira or sanjoris, sometimes tasty chapatis stuffed with jaggery. Such was the varied and delicious fare that Baba served. So we at Krishna Ashram also make these naivedya of these offerings such as varan bhat, puran poli, we make puris, goat shira, basundi, all that is mentioned here. That is all what the Sattvic meal which Lord Shri Krishna and the great divine Lord Almighty Lord Almighties love these food. These what their offerings that which you offer, they would really enjoy in the sense not for their own palate, but they like to share it with everyone. That is what they care about. Sometimes milk white rice of fragrant ambe mohar, so it's a variety of rice, was with tasty varan. Varan is the plain lentil, it's like a dal which is made, typical Maharashtrian dish, and delicious clarified butter on top of it, would be served surrounded by various types of vegetables, pickles, papad, salad with dressings of curd, types of bhajiyas, etc. And on rare occasions, even sour buttermilk, curds and panchamrit were also there. Blessed are those who could partake of that sanctified food, where it was Sainath who served it. Oh, what to say of the meal? The devotees ate there till they were full, their satiety being evidenced by blenching. Every mouthful brought satisfaction, being pleasurable, nourishing, and hunger appeasing. Such was the tasty, delicious food, sacred and served so lovingly. Taking Sai's name with every morsel, all the diners ate in the spirit of an ahuti or fire offering, and yet the vessel did not in the least become emptied, but remained full all the time. Whichever delicacy a particular person was fond of, that was served to him very affectionately. Many liked mango juice and very lovingly it was served to them. Nana Sahib Nimonkar or Madhavrao Deshpande was asked to serve this delicious food every day, and they too had made it a daily practice to undertake this work of serving food very lovingly, although it caused them a good deal of exertion and fatigue. The fragrant jeera sal rice, each grain of which was like a jasmine bud, then the golden yellow varan of the tur dal on it, and a spoonful of clarified butter on top of it was served to all. This is what we call it Annapurna. Its fragrance pervaded the air even as it was being served. The meal would be piquant when served along with different chutneys, and no dish was either half cooked or tasteless in the least, and everyone ate till they were fully satisfied. The vermicelli on the platter of blissful samadhi, the kurdiyas of loving devotion. To feast on these, who will come but one who has experienced peace and joy? Where food itself is hari, one who eats it is hari, and he who enjoys its taste is also hari. Then he who serves this food is truly blessed. Blessed, blessed is he who eats it and he who gives it. And the one genuine source of all this sweetness is one's unswerving faith in the Guru. It is not the sugar or the jaggery that is sweet. It is the firmly rooted faith in the Sai. Absolutely. Whenever we make Naivedya in Krishna Ashram, the sweetness, the taste of the food is not just that you're making it with so much ghee and all the richness. No, it is the faith in the Guru, the love of the master. That is what makes it so yummy. The taste is the love of the Guru, the devotion in that food. Such indeed was the continual prosperity reigning there. When the shira, kheer, or the mixture of different food items was so plentiful, even a little hesitation or dawdling on the part of the diners would not do once they sat down to the meal. But the satisfaction of diners would not be complete even after such a variety of dishes without curds and rice. If not so, at least some buttermilk would be asked for. Once a glass of buttermilk, filled by the Guru with his own hand, was very lovingly offered to me, and when I put it to my lips, seeing that snow white buttermilk with my eyes gave me great pleasure and satisfaction. As I put the glass to my lips, I received the nourishment of self-rejoicing. As it is, my stomach is so full. How will I be able to drink this? Even as this torturous doubt crossed my mind, I found the very first draught most delicious. Seeing my feeling so awkward and hesitant, with a sincere entreaty, Baba said, "Oh, do drink it up all," as if he felt that such an opportunity was not going to come again. Very true. And sure enough, I had that experience soon, for at the end of 2 months thereafter, Baba gave up the ghost and really attained nirvana. Now, there is no other way to quench the thirst for that buttermilk except by drinking deeply of the nectar of Sai's story. That is the only way left. Hemant surrenders to Sainath. Whichever story Sai himself reminds me of, that will be narrated next. Let the listeners continue to be attentive. We'll be to all. Here ends the 38th chapter of the Shri Sai Satcharita called The Description of the Handi, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous and composed by his devotee Hemant Pant. So whenever you get the opportunity of eating from your Guru's hands, never miss it. And please eat everything. Don't say, "I don't like this, I love this." When you eat anything that is given by your Guru, it is Amrit. And you can never ever get that once again in your life. So thank you for joining Sai Satcharita. Sai Satcharita. Have a very good evening and see you all tomorrow. ओम श्री महागणपते नमः। ओम श्री गुरुदेव दत्त। ओम श्री सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। दिगंबरा दिगंबरा श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा। ओम श्री कृष्ण गुरुनाथ नाथाय श्री गुरुवे नमः। ओम देवी दुर्गाय नमः। कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुम्।